On this, I'm joined by Peter Matthews, who is a Professor of Political Science at Cyprus College in LA. Professor, thank you for joining me. What do you make of Joe Biden's speech? Has he redeemed himself at all after this debate performance?
I think today he came across much more forcefully and energetically, and he did say, "I know what to do, and I know how to tell the truth," and that was a powerful statement. He's contrasting himself with the many falsehoods that Donald Trump said during the debate very effectively. Trump was just very smooth in his delivery. He was punchy, he was aggressive, and that kind of threw Biden off track. But in terms of content, there wasn't much content on the part of Mr. Trump. He didn't even answer many of the questions, but Biden also was hesitant, as you know, and he did lose his train of thought. That's something people are concerned about. So it was pretty much of a wash. Today's poll, by the way, in the Morning Consult poll, showed that it was 45% for Biden and 44% for Trump. It's pretty dead even still, nationwide.
We have seen today a number of senior Democrats come out to defend the president, including Barack Obama, who made the comment that bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. Do you think the Democrats genuinely still have faith in him?
I think so. Certainly some Democrats are very concerned about last night's performance, and others still have faith in him because they believe he's the best shot since he's beaten Trump before. He is the president, and there's only 4 months left, and it would be very tough to change candidates at this time. But on the other hand, some people have been talking about it, the possibility of bringing in someone else if President Biden himself agrees to step down. It could never be forced on him because that would really divide the party and cause Democrats to get weaker. So I think some of the top Democrats like Obama and others are supporting him still at this point, and they have to. So we'll see what happens as a couple of weeks go on and what the polls are going to show as well.
Yeah, and he's obviously not officially endorsed as the Democratic presidential nominee. So what would it take to replace him at this stage of the race?
It would take President Biden himself stepping down and saying, I'm going to release my delegates. And he's got 95% of the delegates already. 95% are his. And then when he releases them, they can actually vote at the convention for another candidate that he may endorse. If he endorses Vice President Kamala Harris, then the delegates, which are mostly pledged to him, will probably follow suit and vote for her and make her the nominee. That's probably the most logical and workable way of doing it. If you bring in other people to compete on the floor of the House, it can get very messy, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if that's even really going to happen because Biden is determined to stay in there. As long as his health holds, he's got to get out there and campaign more, though. He has to show his strength like he did today in North Carolina. He has to show that he can get up to the task of convincing voters that his plan is better than President Trump's, from his point of view.
And if he did step down and do that, how dangerous would that be for the party, and who would the potential replacement be?
Those are really great questions. I just mentioned one potential replacement would be Vice President Kamala Harris herself. But then again, there are others in the wings, and we don't know how effective they would be because they're not always nationally known. Or in the case of we have Governor Newsom as a possibility here from California. And, yet maybe not in the polling, I'm showing him getting a little less support than Kamala Harris. And both of them are behind what Biden has today in the polling against Trump by a few points. So it's going to be very precarious to bring someone else in. But on the other hand, if things get really bad and President Biden is not able to carry out the duties of a campaigner, of a candidate, which is different than being in the White House and actually running the government, which I believe he's done very well with that. If you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, his infrastructure and bipartisan infrastructure act, which put billions of dollars into investment in the American economy and growing it and helping get us out of COVID. Those were big accomplishments as president. As a campaigner in a debate, he wasn't that effective as you saw. So we need he has to show more energy in campaigning right now.
Obviously, Donald Trump has issues of his own. He's got his legal issues. And when you've got question marks over both presidential candidates, how important will the vice presidential candidates be in this race?
This is so remarkable that we have the two oldest candidates in our history, and you have President Trump with he was just convicted recently. He's about to be sentenced on 34 felony counts. That's never happened in our history. And therefore, vice presidents are going to be very important on both sides because whoever wins the race, the vice president has a good chance of maybe filling out the term. If they don't complete the term for whatever reason, either one of them, the vice president will become president within the next 4 years. So that's why the quality and the dependability of the vice president and their intellectual ability to lead is so important as well.
Professor, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining me. That is Professor Peter Matthews from Cyprus College in LA.